This is Football Night in America, built by Lowe's.
Welcome to the Football Night in America podcast presented by Lowe's. I'm Maria Taylor. That's Matthew Berry, Mike Florio, Devin McCourty, and Jason Garrett here with you. We have reached the halfway point of the season, and to celebrate, we got Patrick Mahomes against Josh Allen for the 10th time. And it ended up being a game when we look back and we were like, okay, the Bills kind of dominated this one. Jason, what was your takeaway from their performance?
Well, we talked about it earlier. The Chiefs are like my favorite cockroaches. I mean, as bad as they played, as much as
I almost couldn't finish the highlight when he said that. I was like, no.
No, at the end, we look at each other like they have a chance to come back and tie this thing. Yeah. But, you know, I really just felt like the Bills dominated this game on both sides of the ball. Josh Allen was incredible. He's at his best when they run the ball. Cook had over 100 yards. The balance was really hard on Kansas City's defense. And Kansas City, they've been playing as well as anybody on defense, giving up 17 points a game. So they've been really good. The surprise for me, though, was on the other side. Yep. Buffalo's been banged up on defense. Kansas City's got their guys back, but they really made it hard on Patrick Mahomes. They shut down the run. Mahomes was under duress the whole time. They didn't have any rhythm, so a really impressive performance by the Bills.
Yeah, I think this is the fun part of football. For Buffalo all week, you're drawing up this game plan. You're saying this is what you're going to do as a defense. On the outside, everyone's saying you have no chance. Kansas City's hot. Rashee Rice is back. They're moving them all over. How are you possibly going to stop? And you say, you know what? We're going to run some five-man pressures. We're going to put pressure on Mahomes. We're going to keep him in the pocket. We're going to do all this stuff. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you practice it. It looks good. But then you go out there and you get out there and it's pregame and you look across and you're like, oh, damn, that's Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. How can we do this? And then you go and execute it. So I think for Buffalo, they have to be walking away from this game saying, this is the team we need to be all year. And then we're all going to say the same thing. What's going to happen if they meet in the playoffs again? Because that's what matters the most.
No team has control over when their bye week is, but for the Bills, I think it came at a perfect time. They had 2 straight losses. Their first 4 wins, for the most part, weren't impressive. Boy, they've been impressive since then. What they did in Carolina and what they did today against the Chiefs. And one of the things we were saying throughout the week, they've met every year in the regular season since 2020, but both the Bills and the Chiefs have owned their respective divisions those 5 years. Now, look at where the Chiefs are. Look at where the Broncos are. Look at where the Chargers are. They're going to have to climb past 2 teams to win the division again. It is not going to be easy, and today's game is going to make that hole a little bit deeper.
I just want to put a couple of numbers to, Jason, what you and Devin were saying here. Mahomes was sacked 3 times. He was hit 15 times. And it's the first time in a 9-year career that Patrick Mahomes completed under 50% of his passes. Like, to your point, like, the Bills were banged up on defense. The Kansas City Chiefs offense has been running great, and yet Buffalo shut them down. I thought on the other side of the ball, you mentioned the rushing. Cook, 114 rushing yards. Josh Allen, 23 of 26, 273 yards, a completion percentage of 88.5% against Steve Spagnuolo's defense. Like, just an unbelievable performance from the Bills, top to bottom, all 3 phases. And yet, to your point, like, I know Buffalo should be celebrating, right? This is a huge win. This is a statement win. They came into our house, we kicked their ass. And yet, they did. And yet, at the end of it, the Chiefs were down 1 score and had a chance to tie this game. Yeah. Like, you know, you watch that entire game, you're like, wow, this team's getting blown out. And yet, I mean, I would feel good if I was Kansas City because they played about as bad as they'd played all year. And again, they were 1 Hail Mary away from, tying that thing up.
I thought that 88% completion was pretty good until I turned on the Seattle game.
Yeah. Okay, but hang on, though. There's a difference, though, right? Josh Allen was playing a real defense. Come on. Sam Darnold's playing.
He's so down on his team right now. He's so down. He turned so fast. Just because you're the only one that picked the Commanders.
I am the only one who picked the Commanders.
Don't eat it now.
But this is the important point.
Sad.
As you said. They're on a collision course to meet again. And it's so different in the playoffs because the regular season's out the window. Your whole season comes down to what happens in that 60-minute window. And we see how the Chiefs thrive in those environments and what's happened to teams like the Bills and the Ravens. You think so much about what you've put into, and it's all riding on that one game. And can we finally kill that dragon?
If you go back and watch the games that Buffalo has lost to Kansas City in the playoffs, Buffalo is close. Buffalo is right there. They play them really well. Now, obviously, Kansas City's winning those games. making the plays in the big moments. But Buffalo is right there. Different than Baltimore. Baltimore hasn't necessarily played well in a lot of those playoff games when they get knocked out, but they're right there. So I think the Bills have a sense of confidence, the regular season success, and what they've done, how close they've been in the playoffs. I think they feel good about their chances, but this is a long way off. We got a lot of football to play.
Coach, to your point, think about that playoff game. I'd argue Dalton Kincaid got a first down, then Josh Allen, I'd argue he got a first down, super close. But by the way, they had plays like this in this game where, again, it's 4th and 1, they just need an inch, and Josh Allen was able to get it this time. So, again, those calls go a different way in the playoffs, and we're having a different conversation. They were razor thin.
Yeah, so the Bills win 5 straight in the regular season against the Chiefs, and remember they're 0 for 4 against the Chiefs in the postseason. Let's move on to the sophomore QBs. We saw all 6 of them. I guess Jaden Daniels still playing right now, but all of them playing this week. Let's go down the line. Let's pick a sophomore QB that was a first-rounder and just grade their performance. Talk me through it.
I'll start with the last of the 6 guys. Bo Nix was picked 12th. And to me, he's played really, really well. What I like most about him is I feel like Denver's offense is a little bit of fits and starts. Week after week, they're only okay. They're really relying on their defense to have success, but they're 7-2. And in each of these games, even when it hasn't been good early, when it turns over to the 4th quarter, this guy starts to show up. He makes a lot of big throws. He makes a ton of plays with his feet, and he has a calmness, and he's so cool in these big moments. And ultimately, that's what decides it in this league. We've been talking about Mahomes and Josh Allen. The reason they're special players, because when the game's on the line, that's when they really show up, and that's when they're their best. And this guy has some elements of that to his game. Been really impressed.
And I think that's the fun part with all these guys, the calmness and poise when we watch them. And you look at Drake May in New England, he's had a fantastic year. But what I liked about today was it didn't all go well. They jumped out to a lead. They looked like they're going to take command of the game right before the half. He has a strip sack. He fumbles, comes back. He fumbles another ball, but he gets on it. It didn't all go his way. Stayed calm, played it, and executed their game plan. I mean, these young guys are really good. But I look at Drake May, and I said it a few weeks ago, he might end up being the best of this bunch, the way he's playing. And it's the first time really that this team has been where they don't rely on him to do everything. He can have just an okay game, and they still won. So it's been fun watching them.
And shout out NBC Sports Research, the notes we get every week. Had a very intriguing nugget about Drake May, and he did it again today. 8 straight games with 200 or more yards passing and a passer rating of 100 or higher. Only 3 other guys have done that. Aaron Rodgers twice, he won MVP both times. Peyton Manning, he did it and won MVP, and Tom Brady did it and he won MVP.
So you're saying?
So I'm saying he's pretty good.
Drake May, MVP.
Keep it up. He may be. Keep it up. J.J. McCarthy has a long way to go, but I think today he faced down as much pressure as any of these guys have encountered, because he's had the injury last year that knocked him out for the entire season. He got injured in week 2, just 6 days after he had that game that made people think, hey, maybe he has something. But when you think of the whole list of decisions the Vikings made, let Sam Darnold go, let Daniel Jones go, say no thank you to Aaron Rodgers because it seemed that he was interested. He's got to prove himself, and he did. In one of the worst places that you could have to go into Detroit and win the way they did and play the way he played and stay healthy and just give the team a lift. It was the most surprising result of the day, and it shows that they may have something with this guy. They just need to let it play out.
So the last guy is Caleb Williams, and I thought this was an important game. He had not played well the last couple of games. They're playing Cincinnati. Joe Flacco has an unbelievable game for the Cincinnati Bengals, and they actually go up. To me, look, the numbers are great, 20-34, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns. He gets over 50 yards with his legs as well, which is important on that last drive. 3rd and 10, he's facing pressure, and he scrambles to keep the drive alive. I mean, I just thought that while I get the struggles that the Bengals defense have had, when you get the ball back and you're down and you're on the road and you've got less than a minute to get a score, for a second-year quarterback in his first year in a system to drive them down, they end up getting the touchdown for Loveland. They were just trying to get a field goal. I thought that was impressive after the team had already given up a big lead. They lose the onside kick, and so Caleb Williams was like, "No, we got this, Mike." You talked to him after the game, and it seemed like Caleb just felt like he took another level. That like the team can believe in him.
54 seconds left, and he said to his teammates, "They left us too much time." Just don't try to do too much, and right down the field they went.
He knew they were playing against the Bengals.
That's right.
But you still have to execute. It's still an NFL game, and you still have to execute, Dev. And he did. He did. I thought that was, a really impressive drive.
Just a couple things. I want to hit Michael Penix as well because, this is a guy who's really given them a boost. I think the biggest concern for me with the Falcons, maybe more so than Penix, is they've just been up and down all year long, and there's been inconsistency there in his play as well. But to me, he really shows flashes of why they picked him as high as they did. I mean, he's a really talented passer. They got a lot of weapons around him, and he brought him back today. I mean, they lost this game, the opportunity to win the game because they missed the extra point after the game-tying touchdown. So the one thing about all these guys that I think is important, sometimes when you're a young quarterback, you don't really know what's good. And it's important to have a coach around you, a quarterback coach, a coordinator, or a head coach who can remind you what's good and what's important. And I think if you look at all these guys, they have good mentors. Sometimes you can get caught up in statistics. You can get caught up in making the spectacular play. And I'm thinking about Caleb as you were talking to him. Ben Johnson is really kind of teaching him how to play quarterback at the NFL level. And those flashy plays, that's not really what separates it. It's decision-making, consistent decision-making throughout the game and then in the big moments. And I think we're seeing that. He obviously has immense ability, but he's getting refined and he's growing and maturing before our eyes.
And by the way, we've seen what can happen when a quarterback is in a system or an organization that doesn't necessarily help with that type of leadership, and then they need to be retooled into a Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield and have a different opportunity. All right, Florio, the trade deadline is coming up on Tuesday. In your hot little hand.
I'm ready.
I know you always say that. What are some of the things that we should just be on the lookout for coming up on Tuesday?
Well, the Jets are getting a lot of calls, but they're trying to resist a fire sale. Teams are interested in players like running back Breece Hall, defensive lineman Michael Clemens, defensive end Jermaine Johnson. They are trying, though, the Jets are, to resist. They want to hold the team together and see where it goes from here. The Dolphins, there's a belief in league circles that one of the two pass rushers is going to get traded, either Jalen Phillips or Bradley Chubb, but not both. Also, Minkah Fitzpatrick, I think, could be gone. He was with the Dolphins, and he was traded to the Steelers. He was traded back to the Dolphins earlier this year, get traded yet again. If teams are looking for receivers, and some are, Rashid Shaheed of the Saints, Calvin Ridley of the Titans are names to watch. And I'm intrigued by the Cardinals. They've been rebuffing interest in their guys. They're 2-5, but you look at their losses. They've been by a combined 13 points. Yeah. They think they can still get back into it, and they're feeling the heat. That current regime, it's year 3. Will Michael Bidwell make changes if they don't make it to the playoffs? So they're holding the team together, but in the process of doing some digging and rattling some cages and shaking some trees, I think there's an interesting name to watch after the season. I think Kyler Murray is going to get traded on this current track. I mean, if he comes back and plays and they get to the playoffs, that's different, but I think Kyler Murray is going to get traded in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, just staying on that, I wouldn't be surprised. We were talking about it before. This regime that came in with Gannon and Monty Ossenfort, they've never gotten a chance to say, hey, we're going to sign this free agent quarterback or we're going to move up and draft this guy. So I think we've all seen in the NFL, when you take over, you want a chance to have the guy at the helm that you choose. So I can see that being a move coming in the offseason.
I'll just say this. When it was announced at the first part of this injury, when it was announced that Kyler Murray was not going to play and Jacoby Brissett was going to start, the line didn't really move. And when your franchise quarterback not playing doesn't affect that line, I mean, let me tell you, when Patrick Mahomes doesn't play, the line moves. When Josh Allen doesn't play, the line moves. The fact that the line didn't really move that much from Kyler Murray to Jacoby Brissett is that basically, our friends, the market is saying that they don't think there's that much of a difference. That's a problem.
I always appreciate your perspective on that stuff. I don't know that I have a specific guy who's going to get traded, but I love watching the Eagles build their team. Howie Roseman does it as well as anybody. I love watching them let guys go, replace them in the draft, go address needs in free agency or with trades. They've gotten a couple corners here the last week or so because that's been a problem for them. But I think another part of their team that's lacking from last year is the pass rush. They were so dominant in that Super Bowl game, right? I mean, Patrick Mahomes, talk about being in an uncomfortable environment. They rushed 4 guys, and, I mean, he had no chance. So I wouldn't be surprised if Philadelphia goes and gets one of those rushers that you were talking about. It probably will not be Myles Garrett, but I think he's working hard to get somebody who can affect the opposing team's quarterback.
Well, and Vic Fangio was in Miami for a year with Jalen Phillips, and he was having a good year before he had that Achilles tendon tear on Black Friday against the Jets. So there's already some connecting of the dots that's the move the Eagles could make.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Kansas City get a running back. I'd like to see Pittsburgh and the Patriots get another wide receiver. And I'd like to see anyone get Marshawn Lattimore. I will pay an NFL team to take Marshawn Lattimore off the Commanders. It drives me crazy.
Write that down, Florio.
All right.
Write that down.
How much?
What will it take?
I may get a commission.
It's tough.
All right, guys, it's time to earn your Sunday
I have
presented
a Marshawn
by
Lattimore
Lowe's.
impression. Do you want to see my Marshawn Lattimore impression?
This is so hard this has got to be hard for Barry because the
I don't
game's
wanna
on
see.
right now. Can you even? It's still 31. Is it 30?
Yeah, 31-7.
31-7.
You don't want
Okay.
to watch.
Have you ever tried to play corner in the NFL?
No,
Tried to guard
because you
these
know
guys?
what? No,
Let it run.
I can't.
So hard.
They move me
I
to
know that I
safety.
can't. I know that I
It's a
can't.
hard job.
I'm sure it's a hard job.
So enough for
It's a very hard job.
And now he's with us.
That's
and we
why the
love
people that do it well get paid well.
Okay, guys, I want you to give a superlative to the person that I'm going to say. It's Flacco. It's about him throwing 470 yards, but the Bears still getting the victory against the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, Flacco, unbelievable, right? It's so frustrating that the Bengals can't mount a defense. In Joe Flacco's 4 starts, the Bengals are averaging 32 points per game. You score 32 points in an NFL game, you should win. You should be able to win, and they're 1-3 under Flacco through no fault of his own.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they say Father Time is undefeated. Maybe Father Time's taken an L with Joe Flacco.
Yeah, this is the guy most likely to steal your girl, right there.
Oh, God.
This is look. This is Joe Burrow's team. He's out there crushing it. Joe Burrow this, Joe.
Wow.
Now, next thing you know, there's a new Joe. The new Joe's in town. He's 30 points a game, 400 yards passing. I mean, what's going on here?
Right? That was a good one.
My favorite sign of the weekend was I'm wacko for Flacco because I certainly am. And again, I'm so impressed. I mean, it is hard to play quarterback in the NFL. He's 41 years old. He goes to a new team, and he's lighting up like it's
Why do you
nothing.
even want to be out there?
Yeah, but he's so poised. He has such command of the offense. The ball comes out of his hands so cleanly. He throws it exactly where he wants to throw it. They're great weapons in Cincinnati. Yeah. We all know that, but he's been phenomenal.
Yeah, Flacco's 40, by the way. He's like, don't give me an extra year. I'm young, okay?
No, but it's like 40 in like 280 days. He's getting close. I mean, he's getting close.
And that's why he's the oldest quarterback to throw for 470 yards. All right, the Packers upset by Rico Dowdle and the Panthers. 2 pumps at home.
Two pumps.
One's okay, two is
okay.
Two is a little
Too much.
extra.
Unsportsmanlike.
Yeah, unbelievable game from Rico Dowdle. Prior to the week, Dave Canales said we have to just kind of recognize what Dowdle has done. No disrespect to Chuba Hubbard, but Dowdle getting the start. But by the way, very quietly, Bryce Young now has 4 straight wins.
Come on.
This is a young man that has just been much maligned. And I'm not saying he's a perfect quarterback, but
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide
That's a little too
indeed, Devin McCourty. 4 straight wins for the Panthers. Good for Dave Canales and that organization.
And for the Packers, we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
Like every time they start moving in the right direction, what happens? They lose to the Browns. They tied the Cowboys. Then they got it going again. And now they lose a game at home that they should have won.
And Tucker Kraft goes down, too.
Yeah, that's right. And that's going to hurt them badly. He was one of the most important players on the team.
It starts to be a feeling for Carolina. They're not too far off. They topped the same amount of wins they had last year with 5-4. We don't really think about them, but this team has been playing some good football. And you just said it, with Bryce Young at the helm, 4 straight. Last week, it would have been interesting if Bryce Young was able to be out there against that Buffalo Bills team. But it's been fun watching Carolina and Dave Canales as they've been building this and what Bryce Young is turning into.
Yeah, you know, I love the story of the young quarterback who doesn't go away. It's hard to transition to be a rookie quarterback in the NFL, particularly on a bad team. And so credit Carolina for how they handled the situation. Last year, they sat him down. And Bryce Young didn't go away. And you know, I heard a lot of people say you can't do that to the first player taken in the draft. You can't do that to your young guy. If he goes away in that situation, meaning he just, you know, he doesn't step up to the challenge and compete and fight for that job, you got the wrong guy. You really do. And just how he responded to it. And the other part of this thing is the team around him has gotten better. The coaching, I think, has gotten better, more experienced. But you get running backs, you're playing better on defense. All of a sudden, you don't have to do everything. And now you're starting to see that guy that we saw at Alabama who had so much success. But Dowdle's been a huge part of it. And when you got a guy like that, give him the rock because he makes everybody else's life better.
Yeah, I talk about it all the time, but watching Bryce Young play just makes me happy. I just look at Devin, I'm like, okay, that might be my new NFC South team. Don't tell the Falcons I said it. The Steelers forcing 6 turnovers in a win against the Colts, the league's best offense.
It was a gotta-have-it game, a statement game for the Steelers defense, which has also been much maligned. T.J. Watt, a sack, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, indicative of that entire defense at home. That was Steelers football. You know, it's been a while since we've seen that kind of defensive effort from Pittsburgh. Huge game against a team that's as good as any in the NFL.
When I was a kid, one of the things that I dreaded hearing, and I heard it often because my mouth would get me in trouble, was wait until your father gets home. Well, Daddy came home for the Steelers on Sunday. He was gone last week. I don't know where Daddy was, because that was not the Steelers.
Daddy's back.
I gotta follow
Daddy was back today.
You gotta follow up. Daddy came home. That's the headline. Daddy came home. Here we go. You force 6 turnovers. You play your style. Daddy came home, and Daddy came home with a certain type of attitude, and it fixed the kids. They got in line when Daddy walked in the door.
He did. Again, I don't know how to follow that one up either. I just love what they did. I loved how they altered their scheme.
Yep.
And they played the way they're capable of playing. They made subtle adjustments. It wasn't like they were playing 50 different coverages, but essentially they said, let's not isolate our corners outside and let these quarterbacks and receivers get after those guys. Let's play more zone. Let's force them to throw the ball underneath. Let's play some shell defense. 2 safeties deep, roll up outside. Let's double those guys outside, and let's let our guys inside defend the run and then go get the quarterback, and that's what they did. And that can be a really hard place to play when they get rocking. Personal experience there, and it's hard on quarterbacks. And Pittsburgh was just downhill at Indianapolis the whole game. Again, the big thing, and somebody said it, Indianapolis was the best offense in football coming into that game. So really impressive by Pittsburgh.
Florio, if I say go get a switch, does it mean anything to you?
Oh, listen, my mother had the full arsenal.
Okay.
Tell you a bad kid.
And it didn't help. That's the thing. It doesn't work. I would do a cost-benefit analysis when I had a really good smart-ass remark from my mother. Is it worth the beating? And I would say, yes, it was.
Always was. You went with the analytics.
It was back in the 70s. I mean, it was a different time.
They think only players' brains should be studied. Your brain
There's so many layers every week to learn about Florida.
We're peeling back slowly.
How much?
All right, how about Stafford throwing 4 touchdowns, leading the NFL with 21 passing touchdowns this season?
He's been unbelievable this year. And, you know, so much of the MVP talk so far has been Mahomes, Allen, Baker Mayfield, Jonathan Taylor. Matthew Stafford's right there. This Rams team is playing as well as we've ever seen it, and Stafford he's 37, but he doesn't look it. He's been fantastic. He's been without Puka Nacua for a while here as well. Nacua came back and then left this game for a little bit. Stafford's been nothing short of fantastic, and the Rams are right there with the best teams in the NFL.
MVP fringe. He's getting there. There's other candidates, but when you look at the Colts losing today, it's going to take some steam out of Daniel Jones or Jonathan Taylor. The Lions lose, takes a little steam out of Jared Goff. The Chiefs lose, a little steam out of Patrick Mahomes. Stafford, and for all the back issues he had, the questions in the preseason, is he going to be able to get through the season? Going to be able to get to the season? He's been incredible.
Yeah, the only thing that might be holding him back is the Seattle team if they win the division or something like that. But I think it's fun to watch. You watch Stafford, a guy came into the NFL in 2009. Like, we're talking about him and Joe Flacco with these amazing days and how he's still playing at this level. I mean, the old guys can still go out there and sling the ball with the best of them. Stafford did that today.
Yeah, we sadly lost one of the greats, a movie icon, Robert Redford, the last couple months. And one of my favorite roles that Redford played was in The Natural, Roy Hobbs. That's what I think about when I see that guy right there. I mean, the first time I ever saw this guy throw, I was like, oh, my God. I mean, I've never seen a guy throw a ball like this. And he's still doing it. You said it, 37 years old. He's had a lot of different injuries. He's as tough as they come. He's as tough mentally and physically. Got beat up a lot of years in Detroit. And he just brings it every week. And you know, we laugh about these no-look throws that he makes. But this is playing quarterback in the NFL at the age of 37. And he's looking guys off. And it's like he's playing pickup basketball. So his talent level throwing the ball, his understanding of the game, and then the poise and just the comfort level that he plays with makes everybody else around him better. It's a great story.
It didn't get a ton of attention in the offseason the way some other moves did, but Devontae Adams to the Rams might have been one of the best offseason moves. Everyone talks about Chase and Higgins, and rightfully so, but there's not a better duo than Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams right now.
You guys say all that. All I see is go Dogs.
Fair.
Got the win over Florida. That's all I see. We were in
how about
school
Highland
together,
Park
holding
High
it
School?
down. How about it? How about Kershaw?
Clayton Kershaw, Scotty Scheffler.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Let's go.
We got to do some research on that, okay? How about Cam Little setting an NFL record with that 68-yard field goal and the Jags getting the win?
Yeah, good for him. You know, he kicked this, I think it was a 73-yarder in the preseason, so we knew he had the leg, but the fact that he got the opportunity, was indoors, nails it, gets an NFL record, good for him. That was a dicey game for the Jaguars where they just sort of, you know, Mike likes to call it playing with their food. You know, I just felt like, but ultimately they got out. Good for Pete Carroll going for 2. They don't get it. The Jags get a win. And Cam Little is now an NFL record holder.
Yeah.
I think they need to change the name of the K-ball to like the vitamin B12 ball. 'Cause, I mean, it's amazing now, and I think it's an extra 5 to 7 yards. Now, it still takes a good kicker, but you get a little extra lift. It's just a matter of time before they get to 70.
I'm amazed because I was a part of Deflategate and everybody cared about the ball this, how much air that, what
were
he
a
do.
part of that?
I was a part of that. You know,
Oh.
well, I wasn't a part of
Tell
actually.
me more.
I didn't touch the footballs, but I'm
Ted
just
Wells.
saying,
Where
I
are
had
you,
to-
Ted Wells?
Do we need to check your phone?
I had to. You could check it. I might smash it before you get it. But I was involved. I had to go to the podium, answer all these questions. Now all of a sudden they're changing the footballs, guys, breaking records. This is nonsense.
I'm taking a completely different spin on this.
Good.
You guys know who Roger Bannister is?
No.
Of course, 4-minute mile.
Yeah, he broke the 4-minute mile.
Oh, so me and Maria don't.
And so for years and years and years, they said it was physically impossible to run a mile under 4 minutes. Okay, can't do it. Physiologically, you can't do it. Okay, Roger Bannister, 1956, breaks the 4-minute mile.
You just remembered this?
This
Princeton
is
guy.
something you need to know.
Gather them up.
Literally in the next 18 months after he breaks the 4-minute mile, this thing that nobody could ever do, 10 other guys break the 4-minute mile. Okay, so for years in the NFL, it was Tom Dempsey, 63 yards. You can't kick it farther than that, right? But then all of a sudden, you start removing that ceiling, and you break that ceiling. You guys are talking about K-ball. Okay, I'm talking about psychology and performance here. Give Little a little credit. The guy kicked it 68 yards.
Right.
Nobody's ever done this in the history of the National. 105 years we've been playing football in the National Football League. Nice job, Little.
I just so happened to do
Well
it
done.
Yeah.
when they have the new K-balls. That's all.
That's all you're saying. That's
all we're
you're saying.
Devin's a hater. He's been sitting too close to Florio all season. He's
I
just
like
a
that.
hater.
He broke a glass ceiling.
He
okay?
broke the glass
We're
ceiling.
gonna see
Everyone
where it
else
goes
says,
from
hey,
there.
we can do this.
Yeah.
That's what we
And
have.
a young Little saw this.
Right, right.
And he took advantage of
And
it.
the Falcons missed a PAT that could have tied the game, and now I got to deal with Devin.
Yeah.
Yeah, all happened in the same week.
Kickers matter.
28-3.
Week 9. All right, that's a wrap. Okay, we'll see you next week. We've got the Steelers going on the road, taking on the Chargers. Football Night in America will be there to hold it down at 7 Eastern on NBC and Peacock. Thanks for tuning in.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.